Hello everyone, good morning, I hope you had a cup of coffee. I'm Gordon Knox, Director of the ASU Art Museum, but really what I am is an avid and devoted follower of the brilliant curators and staff and team that put the programming together and animate the museum. And I'm also a grateful recipient of incredible support from the entire community, from our board, and in this case, particularly I'd like to acknowledge the Wingate Foundation and John Brown, who have really made this show possible, the interns that animate and move forward the work, the residency program that allows us to bring artists in from around the country and around the world to work with students here, and in many ways just to underscore the support and recognition that the incredible curatorial team at the museum has done. So at that point, I'm going to hand it over to Heather and Peter, and thank you all.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. We're delighted to see you here. My name is Heather Seeley-Lineberry. I am Senior Curator and Associate Director of the ASU Art Museum. And my colleague?
Peter Held, Curator of Ceramics at the Art Museum Ceramics Research Center. So it's great to have so many people here, so many artists that came in from all around the country, students, both ASU and otherwise. We're really looking forward to the stellar roster of speakers we've lined up today. It's always intriguing. Everyone has grappled with the dialogue of art, craft, design, life, what it all means, how do we all fit in. I'm not expecting to find any hard, fast answers today, but I think continuing the dialogue is important, and hopefully it will spur our imaginations to think of objects made of different materials in lots of different ways.
We also want to introduce and recognize Elizabeth Kozlowski, the Wingate Curatorial Fellow, who was checking you in and played a major role in this project. We hope that you've all gotten the program, because we're going to rely upon this heavily today. We're really going to keep our introductions for individual speakers very brief so we can keep moving. And we also hope that you've had a chance to see the exhibition that this is in conjunction with, Crafting a Continuum. We feature 100 works, all drawn from our own collection. And 70 of those works are actually going to travel to museums around the country, 5 museums. There's a very substantial catalog as well that's available in our museum store. Really, it's been a 3-year journey building up to this exhibition, catalog, and symposium. And we thought that we would just show you a little bit about what that entailed. A great deal of curatorial research, not only looking at our own collection, at our own history in presenting and collecting contemporary craft. We've played a pretty significant role nationally and internationally in that dialogue. So taking a look at what we had accomplished, taking a look at our existing collection, and then doing a great deal of research as to the dominant issues in the field, fresh ideas, fresh thoughts, and so, I want you to go back. And so, for instance, this is an image where I went with a small group of artists, curators, and supporters to London, and we visited at the V&A, and on my right is the curator of ceramics at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, which I think is doing some of the most interesting curatorial work in contemporary craft. And then on my left, we at the studio now Matsunaga. I asked my colleagues in London who I should visit with while we were there, and now's name came up several times.
Part of the project, I spent 3 weeks in Denmark and Sweden. We've been collecting ceramics at ASU for over 40 years. It's a predominantly American collection, smaller group of British holdings, and one of my goals the last few years is to expand the international profile of the ceramic collection. And you know, I've been hearing lots of great things about what's happening in Denmark and Sweden. I probably did about 20 studio visits around Copenhagen, Stockholm, and other places in the country. Got to see some great exhibitions, and most of the new acquisitions that were provided by the Wingate, in ceramics anyway, I purchased work from Scandinavia, so it really gave a great stimulation and dimension for the ceramic collection.
So another thing we were able to do as part of this process was to bring a number of artists to ASU, to the museum, to our community, to share their work, spend time in our community. Many of them stayed at Combine, our international artist residency space. They met with community groups, they gave presentations, they did workshops over in the School of Art. So Matthias Pleisnig came and we actually commissioned the work from him for the collection. And then our friend Anders Ruold came as well.
So, whenever we bring artists in, we try to have as much interaction with the School of Art students as well. So Matthias was here for several days and worked with our Wood students, talking about the technologies he's using in his work and techniques. And then, Heather mentioned she visited now in London. He ended up coming here for 3 months. He worked in our graduate ceramic studio. A model resident artist, he was very engaged, not only with our community, but also the desert environment. So he spent quite a bit of time going to the Grand Canyon, some Native American sites, and put together a phenomenal body of work that responded to his experience. Specific to Arizona.
Christine Lee, who's going to be speaking this afternoon and has done a site-specific installation in one of the lower galleries with the Crafting Continuum exhibition. Christine actually came for a whole semester, and we collaborated with the School of Art, and she taught a class in the School of Art. And she has been working on a new binderless non-toxic particle board that I think she's going to be talking to you about later, doing some really innovative work on new materials and working with wood.
So this is just one studio visit I made to women in Copenhagen that collaborate together. Their practice is very diverse. The piece on the left that you might have seen if you were here last night from their True Feelings series, made blindfolded. So part of their practice is performative. But one of the interesting aspects of the artists I met in Denmark that differs quite a bit than Americans working in ceramics is there's never been a divorce, a true divorce between studio practice and industry and design. Scandinavia obviously has a rich tradition in that, but many of the artists I talked to have been commissioned by a number of ceramic industries and design firms to design work for them. That was just one of the noticeable differences. So I know when we have this dialogue about the intersections of art, craft, and design, it seems like, in Scandinavia anyway, they haven't lost a lot of those traditions that were so important many years ago.
So I'm going to move pretty quickly so that we can get to Jenny's presentation. We acquired more than 20 new objects for the collection to re-energize our collection, to address some of the current issues in the field. And as you've probably guessed now, we collect and present primarily in 3 areas of contemporary craft: ceramics, wood, and fiber. So these were a couple of our acquisitions in wood, going from Katie Hudnall, who is coming from a furniture making background, and then tweaking that to create objects that are much more about issues in the field, issues of craftsmanship. And then Alison Elizabeth Taylor, who's a painter who taught herself marquetry and still is able to get these amazing painterly effects with this very demanding process. And then the next one is a couple of examples of our fiber acquisitions. And both Sonia Clark and Mark Newport, who is here today, both really mine the inherent content of their medium and the impact of their medium to accomplish their explorations of identity politics. So powerful content in both of their work. We want to thank Elizabeth, who's holding our catalog. Because we figured she'd probably be out front finishing. Oh, she's actually here. Thank you, Elizabeth, for all of your hard work. And yes, a special note of thanks to Anders, who, when Anders was visiting as an artist in resident and speaking, we realized he had this amazing sensibility for objects, an amazing grasp of the field and some of the issues in the field. And so we invited him to help us with the installation of the exhibition. A very diverse body of objects. And it was a really engaging process that I wish we could have shared with everybody, where he came up with about 10 different themes that I lobbied to share with the audience, but I was outvoted as Anders and my colleagues really didn't want to sort of force that on our visitors. But these really engaging themes like material love. And as you go through the exhibition, I hope that you will start to see some of these amazing connections that he made between the objects of all media and formats. There are some wacky combinations that really just start to unfold as you spend time with them. And so thank you very much, Anders, for that.